How often do you find yourself working late, really late, answering emails at all hours, and you feel like your revenues for your firm have just come to a complete standstill? Well, it might be that you're giving away too much of your time without even realizing it. This is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, and that is exactly what happened to Tori. She is a CPA firm owner, and she thought that she was actually charging very well. But then once we really start looking at her client list, doing a cost analysis, she realized how much unpaid work was actually just slipping through the cracks. It was just draining away. And when we were able to do that, she saw what was going on. She was telling me that, she thought that she had decent rates. She wasn't giving rock bottom prices to anybody, but she didn't realize how much additional client work she did. And there was so much that she just never got paid for each and every month. So going the extra mile was definitely client-centered. Her clients loved her, but it wasn't reflected in her fees. And once again, once she did that client analysis, then she was able to see how much giving away the additional free work was costing her every single month. It was in the 4 figures, and sometimes it was 5 figures in a month. So it was really, really significant when you added it up over time. And it wasn't that her clients were taking advantage of her. It was that she just didn't have clear boundaries. So when requests came in, she just said yes to everything. And even though they were paying a particular fee, it was like all inclusive. So think about it for yourself. That small request comes in for an additional report. Maybe it's a brief meeting here that turns into a monthly meeting. And because you want to be client-centered, you want to keep your clients happy, it just starts to grow over time. And this is some of the hints that give you an idea that this is actually happening in your firm. And you probably know it anyway, but you find that you're working additional hours without earning any additional revenues. Clients actually expect strategic advice that goes beyond their packages. So they started out with a particular scope, but now they want more and more from you as far as insights before they make decisions. You find that your workload has increased for a client, but the fees remain flat. They haven't changed at all to accommodate the additional work. And also, there are times when your team, they go over the estimated hours for a client's workload, or if they're working on a project. So scope creep isn't just about doing more without getting paid for it. It is about the impact it has on your firm's profitability and ability to also scale. And research shows that firms on average lose at least 15% of revenues each and every month due to scope creep. Over time, that 15% can add up. It is significant. So that is really considering thousands of dollars of money that you're just leaving on the table. You're giving it all away for free. And you can be very, very client-centered and still get paid for the services you're doing for your clients. So I want to be able to put that out there. This doesn't affect you being client-centered. It just means that everybody is in a win-win situation. And part of this happens when you set a boundary. You're able to kind of rein it in and help educate your clients about what to expect and put some boundaries in place, not only to protect you, but to protect your team as well. So here's some tips on how to be able to stop scope creep in your firm. The very first thing is you want to be crystal clear about what's included and what's not. That way your clients no longer expect freebies or something that takes a lot of time and research and some additional things to put together before you can answer that quick question. You are getting well compensated. So instead of saying, yes, let me go ahead and do that research for you and I'll get back to you, you want to be more specific. Your package includes some questions up to maybe 2 hours per quarter, but this is going to go beyond that, and we are going to need to either adjust your package or go ahead and set this up as a one-time project. So I just want to let you know that before we proceed. The other thing is that it might be that when these additional extra requests come in, it could be an upsell opportunity that your clients, their needs have grown as you've been working with them over time. They've evolved, and what you're doing for them has evolved, and maybe it needs to be readjusted. In order to be able to make sure that you are taking charge of that, you want to go ahead and schedule some check-ins. Maybe you're doing it once a quarter, maybe you're doing it twice a year, you're doing it annually, but you want to actually have regular check-ins so that you don't have a client whose services that you're doing for them continue to grow over the years and your fees remain the same. They're not going anywhere. So once again, go ahead and start adding in some client check-ins to review what you're doing for them and if they are packaged and priced appropriately. And then the third part is your team, because they want to be helpful also, and they want to delight your clients as well. You need to give them some ideas as to how to approach some additional requests so that once again, they're able to take care of their clients, be customer service oriented, but there's now some boundaries and processes in place. So there needs to be some ideas as to when they can go ahead and say yes to something, those small requests, especially if they're one time. If it's a new request, maybe they need to flag it and have a discussion with the client as well as a review with you to be able to look at whether this is part of their package or whether this needs to be amending their work agreement or maybe a one-time project. And then if you find that it's an ongoing need because your client's businesses have evolved, then that client ought to be adjusted to a higher package. So once again, it might be when new requests come into your team, they might need to have a just quick clarification as to what's going on before they say yes. They might need to look at whether to flag it and maybe get more information from the client and then review it with you. And the other thing is that maybe your client's business needs have expanded and they need to be bumped up to a higher package. So the main thing is you want to have processes in place before this happens to contain the boundaries and make sure that you're getting well compensated for the work that you're doing for your clients. So once Tori started to implement this into her firm, she started to realize that the value of the services that she delivers isn't about how many hours that she's working. She cared about the hours, but her clients, they really cared about the results. It wasn't about how long something took. And one of the things that happened is that Tori had a mindset shift on her value. She was able to see that this is really about the difference and what she's able to help her clients with moving forward as opposed to how many hours it takes to implement that solution. So her clients, their value from their point of view was on being able to have the best tax advantage possible, being able to get tax planning, and also that she gave them a lot of attention. And as a result of that, she was able to make some changes in her firm and how she worked with her clients. So she had crystal clear service packages that really outlined what clients receive and what they don't receive. She was able to now charge diagnostics for new clients coming in to be able to review what the scope would be so that she can go ahead and price it appropriately without having to come back and saying, wait, it took longer than I expected, or just having it eat into her profits because she didn't estimate it well. So now she was getting paid to look at something before she started doing the work. She has boundaries where she didn't have them before, and she's comfortable with establishing those boundaries. And this means no more late night calls with clients or accepting those calls and then clients thinking that she was available 24/7 for them, that she didn't have a life. And the other change that she made is she went away from invoicing and she went to getting prepaid for her services, which totally changed her cash flow. So those are some of the things that are possible for you too. But because we implemented those things into her firm, she now has lowered stress. She was able to hire a subcontractor to help with some of her routine work. Her clients love the fact that there's transparency about what's included and what's not included and exactly what they're investing in for her firm's services. And she realized that she doesn't have to say yes to all of her clients. She can be more selective with who she works with. And she told me that she wants to have clients that are just as pleasant to work with as they feel she is to work with them. So that was something that was really a light bulb moment for her as well. But I just want to say, if this is something that interests you, here's what I have for you as your first action steps. Go ahead and look at last week and the client work that you did for your clients, and look at how much of that was done without any compensation. You were delivering work for free. It might be that there's a number that surprises you. And if it is a surprise for you, then it is time to take action and rein it in, so you're no longer giving away thousands of dollars each and every month, because it's significant. It impacts your firm's profit margins as well as your ability to grow and scale, plus your quality of life. So I just want to say, clients who have gone ahead and they've started to implement the strategies, they've been able to reclaim at least 10 hours per week of their work week. They've gotten that back. And also they've been able to increase their monthly revenues by about 42%. And that is possible for you too. Just imagine, what would you do with that extra time and the increased revenues? So if that's something that interests you, please let me know what you took away from this, how you might want to start implementing this, maybe what it validated for you that you are already doing to start to contain the scope creep. And if you want to be able to have a further conversation about how to be able to protect your time, deliver exceptional service and value to your clients, and be able to increase your firm's revenues, then let's go ahead and have a conversation. Go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk to be able to get that process started. And we can talk about how to be able to increase your firm's revenues and also have a firm that raises your quality of life instead of drains the quality of life from you. So I just want to say, every single time you say yes to unpaid work, it affects your firm's profit margins. And we want to go ahead and rein it in while remaining very, very client-centered, because you deserve to get paid for the difference that you make for your clients. Anyway, reach out if you want to talk further. This is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting firm owners how to double their income working half the time.